Bills fans, I'm not even going to attempt to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you a white lie. I'm not going to tell you a partial lie. The truth is, this was likely the worst season y'all will have in the last 5 years.
Shut up the Bills! It's not house flag! It's not house flag! Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Want me now listen, everyone play their position. Buffalo got a tradition, they say we trippin'. They better get out our way. Top of the table, we flippin'. We on a mission, got an unstoppable team. Continue to follow your dream, by any means. Buffalo, get in the Super Bowl ring. Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Mafia up in your city, time to get gritty. Screaming and yelling, we bugging. Look at the red and blue.
This is an MVP year for Josh Allen. As an MVP voter, I said this last week. Josh Allen, he looks like an MVP. When you vote for MVP, and I can speak for myself, I think I'm one of 50 voters, you look at a couple things. Who's the best team in football? Who's the best player on that team in football? What do they look like as the best player on that team in football? And how much talent is around that best player on that best team in football?
And a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here live for a late edition of the Coast to Coast podcast. I am your co-host, Beyond 716. And you may be wondering, where is the great one, the one and only Whittle? Unfortunately, our GOAT, as we call him, will not be joining us tonight.
We call him the Almighty.
The Almighty, that's right. We have a lot of nicknames for Whittle, and all very complimentary here on the Do Champions podcast. Remember to give us a follow at Do Champions, folks. Go to X, go to any platform. We have this show, many great shows lined up, especially as we move into the combines, we start moving into free agency and the draft, which is really the second season now, right? We had our regular season, we had the playoffs. That's of course what we all wait for. But this part next season right now, really till April, is part 2. So without further ado, I want to introduce the one, the only Student here joining us tonight. And you can catch Student on some great shows here on Do Champions. How are you, Student?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. I don't get to work with you much, but when Whittle had to bow out, I had to tap in.
Nice.
Beyond.
We're happy to have you.
So brief point of privilege right now. We got some great USA hockey going on. We have a little bit of a dichotomy of fandom. We had Rasmus Dahlin going against Tage Thompson today. We did have Quinn Hughes rather scoring that goal. How are you feeling for Friday at 2:10 Eastern Standard Time versus Slovakia?
Yep, for us East Coasters, a little 11:10 a.m. drop of the puck, which
is that an early lunch break for you, Beyond, or what are we talking?
Pretty much, yeah. Yep. I'll be working early. I usually tap it. I got the Peacock app, so I'll just probably multitask at work a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the Peacock app, man. It is nothing short than an Oregon Trail, depending on which coast you are, Oregon Trail a pilgrimage to find some of these games. Sometimes the NFL today announced they're continuing their partnership with Netflix, continuing their partnership with Amazon Prime for some of those games. Man, for $1 billion network, those rights are definitely everywhere, and to be split up with such a big capital commitment beyond. We had some big news coming out of One Bills Drive or 1.5 Bills Drive. With that graffiti coming out and slowing down the construction. Pete Grelly, the COO of the Buffalo Bills, did hop on Twitter today with some announcements that this will not delay opening time at all. They are trying to get to the bottom of the chicanery that did unfold that is delaying construction pieces. But it does seem like we will be opening up at least the regular season at Two Bills Drive on the new one. You excited? You found yourself, at any new games this year? And what did you take away from these are just hiccups and, we got to get through these things, but obviously an avoidable evil of kind of what happened a little bit with the graffiti.
Oh yeah, the graffiti. I mean, listen, did they really miss the pit that much? I mean, is that what is somebody go over there and say, hey, I need that pit back? So, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting time, student. I haven't, I don't go to Buffalo obviously as much. I'm in California, but it's going to be so weird, so surreal when I first drive up there and see that new stadium on the right side. Like, wow. And, so many memories of Highmark. Of course, I had with my father growing up, going to games starting in the late 80s and going, into some great games during the Kelly era. And of course, the dark ages, the quote, 17-year drought era, tons of those. But I do plan on going to a game this year in Buffalo. I plan, once the schedule comes out, I want to try to double dip and see if I could get the Sabres in there too.
You're doing all the buzzwords.
Yeah, I want to get them all in there. I want to see if I could do that as well because our Sabres are looking good. So we'll see how that goes as well.
Well, speaking of that, a lot of people are wondering that big mound of dirt adjacent to the stadium. They're like, what are you doing with all that big mound of dirt? Well, to anybody who's agriculturally inclined, when you knock down an old stadium that's built into the convex of the earth, you got to fill that in with something else. And with free agency and contracts dissipating and running their time, we do have to fill out that roster, much like we have to take that dirt and fill in the old stadium. Man, let's get into it right now. The window. Is the window still open? Elite quarterback play sustaining contention is no more valuable than it ever has been. I'll open up the floor to you right now. What's the state of the window? Is the window like shutting? Is it like French doors? Where are you at right now with support systems, with the trajectory on, and with a new build like we might see ourselves as we enter roster reconstruction, cap configuration, and a new look 2026 Bills?
I think the window's wide open personally, but we got to be a little bit more on guard. There's more. What's one of the scariest things in life? The unknown, right? New job, you move away.
I think that's why they say sometimes the evil is way more calming than the fear of the unknown, to corroborate your point.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sean McDermott was a great coach here, folks. I mean, we know that. He did a great job. I mean, he really, and right from the beginning, when he had that meeting with the old players, that's what he got me right away. When he said he got the old players together and he went to that dinner, I said, this is a guy that gets what the soul of Buffalo is. And you live there, you understand it better than I do, right? And even myself as an outsider,
well, I don't like that candor right now. That I would know better than you. And
you live there. You live it.
No. But to inflict that emotion and see it translate from coast to
coast,
that's powerful.
Yes. So we do feel it out here as well. A lot of Bills fans out here in California. We got great clubs. We have tremendous support.
Well, I remember a time beyond when even on Hockey Hotline, you were sporting a Padres hat. That's how how disassociative this organization can make you feel. Did you feel disassociated at all when you saw Terry Pegula up there? Because you had a pretty eponymous point. If Terry Pegula speaks for 5 minutes, it's
5 minutes too long.
4 minutes too long.
Yes, and listen, he's a billionaire. He made his money that way, but public speaking is not his forte, folks. And I need him to speak as little as possible. And we all appreciate some things about Terry Pegula. We're not here to trash Pegula in any way. I think, he's keeping the dream. He built a new stadium here in Buffalo. We still got a team in Buffalo, so we got to be grateful for that, right? But the way that I thought Colin Cowherd, and I don't always agree with him, student, but I thought he had a great point. This is an organization that was great for 6 years, but had a bad 72 hours. Let's not jump off the deep end.
Well, I mean, since 2020, man, they're top 3 in wins, top 5 in point differential, top 5 offensive EPA. I think you probably have a graphic if I know you best.
And I show you that top 5 in point differential is putting it mildly, student. Check this out. Look at that difference. That is plus 902 is almost, that's like Madden 25, like on rookie level.
Oh, that's the tip you're on Sharks.
That's That's yes, it's a front shark.
Yeah, Sharks, baby.
And the fact that we only have 2 AFC championship appearances since 2020, we have 2020 and 2024. But you know, it's funny, Stu, is that sometimes outside fans can really put the best perspective on your team, right? I always believe that, right? I love our fans and I love interacting with our fans, but a buddy of mine is a Charger fan. He told me, and it was very simple the way he put it. He goes, man, when I look at your team, I just see that if it wasn't for the Chiefs, you guys probably have 2 Super Bowls by now. And I know it's a very simple way of looking at it, but it's probably something that really needs to believe that could
as a mini Chargers alum, my couple weeks there, I would say our default is not who we face. It is an identity crisis within the defense, of which we have addressed this year with Jim Leonhard. Okay, we are not an identity crisis within cap constraints. Cap constraints are what the Dolphins are going to face this year. They have gotten ahead of it with the release of Chubb, the release of Tyreek Hill, and probably the penultimate dealing of Tua Tagovailoa. They are kind of committing to a rebuild this year. That takes one of the 3 children, as Haley Steinfeld, so eloquently put it, out of contention. Drake May is kind of almost chastised for being Drake Schedule May, and the Jets are going to jet, man. We didn't win the AFC East this year, but we feel like we have conversations like, what if? What if we could have led down a beatdown of in the AFC Championships game if we were there? How would we stack up against the Seahawks if we were there? Too many ifs, man. Too many what could have beens, and I think that is the identity of which plagues me as a fan. Your thoughts?
We're the best if franchise in the NFL, maybe in one of the best if franchises the last 5 years in NFL history. When you look at all the metrics, and there are teams that have won playoff games in 7 straight years. Student, I saw a list. There's 6 franchises that have done it. Other 5 have all won multiple Super Bowls, and we have yet to go to one. The other teams on that list are all multiple Super Bowl champion teams. They all won playoff games in 7 straight years. I mean, we're talking some of the greatest franchises and the greatest runs. And there we are, right? All these metrics, point differential, elite quarterback play, incredible consistency, and yet we just haven't found a way for a multitude of reasons, right, Student? And I think that's why I say the window's open, like to come back to what you said. It just feels uneasy of the way we all kind of felt McDermott could be let go. I just didn't think we expected it that Monday morning. I didn't expect it that Monday morning. As I honestly feel, of all the years where we looked at the defense being the problem, I didn't really feel that way this time around. I think
of all the years last year we were the most naive about having to retool.
Yes.
Despite the glaring being on GR, despite the glaring Tyler Dunn's in his reporting of the locker room culture and stuff like that, despite the glaring just faux pas of what I consider a first-round draft pick minus the 5th-year option, Keon Coleman, those faux pas. I think I was personally very naive about how we had to get retooling within a 98% delta of where we were the previous year. I just thought we were going to roll as business as usual and the window is never closed. Where are you at this year with being more pragmatic about the importance of retooling both through the draft, through free agency, and through trade as we head into the 2026 season?
I mean, this is probably the biggest offseason since Josh Allen was drafted, in my opinion, because we have a new coach. We have a lot of new coaches. My goodness, how many new coaches do we have? I feel like the list goes on and on and on, right?
Oh, it's upwards of 12, 13.
I mean, yeah.
Same training room.
Yep. I like the John Fox move, for the record. I think that was a very solid addition to give, Joe Brady, an experienced guy that he can lean on, like a mentor, to kind of show him. And John Fox has been very successful in this league as an NFL coach.
So one of those new coaches is Mr. Jim Leonhard, an alumni of the Buffalo Bills, a UDFA, which I hold very clear to my heart.
Yes.
A UDFA who played 12 years in the league. Just to make it always about myself. Man, 3 weeks here, 12 weeks here, and a Wisco guy, corn-fed, cheese-curd, spotted cow drinking guy, a guy who loves to rely on simulated pressure 18 to 25% of the time to create chaos without heavy blitzing. Anytime you can create chaos without heavy blitzing and disguising your coverages, man, that's amazing. Where are you at right now with the Buffalo Bills alumni and Wisco alum Jim Leonhard being at the helm right now of our defensive approach heading into 2026?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, when you said UDFA in the 12-year career, I mean, that's incredible.
How bad do you want it?
I remember we had, Whittle and I, a long time ago, we had on Dr. Reginald Brown, who played 4 years in the NFL. He's
Reggie, great cat.
And Reggie, and I told him on the show, you know how many players have played one snap in the NFL? Different players. NFL only 29,000 in 100-something years. I said, Miss Dr. Brown, you couldn't even fill the bottom of most stadiums, and you're one of those people. He goes, I never thought of that before. So think about how long to play 10-plus years. It would be Jim Leonhard's. There's probably just a few thousand. There's probably like 4,000 or 5,000 that have only played.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people who have played their last snaps for the Buffalo Bills. Who, beyond, I know we're deviating a little bit from the set.
No, I like it. I love it.
Who
I love
do you
the
think right now who might have seen their last time in the charging blue and white helmet?
Daquan Jones, I would say. Daquan, you had a solid career here with the Buffalo Bills. I think Ogunjobi will not be brought back in a Buffalo uniform. What's going to be interesting is, and I'm not sure how to, obviously Jordan Poyer, I don't think he'll be back either at this point. And
I think he's reached the state of Micah Hyde.
And I love Joe Poyer. I love Poyer. He'll always be one of my favorite Bills of all time. I don't think Joey Bosa is going to be brought back, student, unless he takes, a cut, but I think the Bills are going to move on from there. I want to ask you, and I can't decide with Matt Milano. I'm not sure where he would fit maybe in a Jim Leonhard scheme, if it's something he really wants to come back to us here. So
my thoughts with Matt Milano is it's going to be hard pressed to not evaluate him with nostalgia of his 2023, 2022 years, where East and West, he covered more blades of grass than you would find from most Sam linebackers. He's played through so much injury. Honestly, he's right up there with another Boston College alumni in terms of mental acuity and diagnosis of real-time play, and that's the other alumni I'm talking about, of Luke Kuechly. His diagnosis is great, but we are out of nickel personnel forever. That leads its hand also to Teron Johnson. Does he have the duality to be converted? Because he is such a team guy. He is such an athlete. He's been for the brand forever. But Teron Johnson, he's an easy expendable, not an easy expendable, but he's a glaring expendable cut, as well as Curtis Samuel, a guy who struggled to get on the field. Now, I'm not saying that their ability is ever confusing, but we all know the best ability is availability. Of which Matt Milano has not categorically had, and it's not going to get better as you get older, as you know. So Matt Milano, we structured this contract to predicate our mental thought of having this optionality to get rid of him. So I would credit Brandon Beane just with the sage foresight that we can even have this conversation and make our own decision rather than be pinned to a contract of which we have to keep because of dead cap.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be interesting again with Jim Leonhard coming in. What style of linebackers is he going to want? Is he going to want to bring somebody over from Denver? As we know, these kind of things do happen, right? I got to look at who their free agents are and maybe his quote Jim Leonhard kind of guys that he's going to want to bring in. So that's going to be interesting. And the thing about Brandon Beane, we've seen it before, student. He's not afraid to make those tough decisions. We had that one dark day. Remember, everybody got cut within an hour. The Trey White, the Mitch Morse. That was a horrible. It was just one after another. Remember, it was just really.
It was really an identity crisis.
Ooh, that was really, really tough to see as a fan. But we've seen that he can, and that's what he's paid to do. He's paid to make those tough decisions and identify the correct core. So we'll see how that goes. But about Jim Leonhard, that was one of the most impressive defensive coordinator press conferences I've seen in a long time. He has
let's take a minute
over him.
That was good.
Ooh. Yeah.
A little Ric Flair, a little. Woo, woo. I mean, with Jim Leonhard, the pressure rate predicts defensive success better than sack totals. His post-snap rotation attacks modern QBs who feast on static shells. We were in a static shell with our predetermined personnel grouping, our dog blitzes if we decided to rotate cover one, or a two shell high, as everybody likes to say. I think what we're going to garner with him is a touch of Rex Ryan. Disguises defense in the NFL.
Maybe a more modern version of Rex Ryan for today's game.
Disguises defense, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But a big thing about disguise is, do we have interchangeable safeties currently occupying our roster spots right now? Taylor Rapp is a conversation. Do we let him go?
Yes, I think so, personally. Now, this is a very good safety draft. I think this is a good year to dip into that in the first 3 rounds.
Oh,
personally.
I love that. I love that cat out of North Dakota and in Texas Tech, the Wisnowski kid. Ooh, he is a better Cole Bishop, a guy that processes fast enough in a rotation heavy coverage. And he can play the edge. The edge is going to be so big because when you can define the edge force, whether it be cloud force, corner, sky force, safety, or backer force, the backer sending everything inside. Where are you at right now with a good problem to have? Shaq versus Terrell. 2 different body sets, 2 different rates of speed, 2 different processing subsets, and 2 different body types. We saw Shaq come in and really inflict his will in the absence of a guy who wears number 8. I bring up he wears number 8, Terrell Bernard, is because he fills out that jersey, number 8. Yep. He's a little guy. Shaq Thompson, he's wearing what, number 45, I believe?
45, yep.
He fills out that jersey the same way. 2 different body types, 2 different results. If you could talk to me right now about who you prefer to be starting at a process fast, distinguishing fast defense that Jim Leonhard is going to command when he comes in here and makes his mark in 2026.
I would prefer Shaq just from the fact that he's the veteran experience that we're going to need. And he did, from what I understand, he did make it a little bit clear after the season that kind of felt like he's ready. He's willing to come back. It doesn't sound like, obviously McDermott didn't get another job.
Oh, it didn't sound like he was able or willing. It sounded like he was enthused.
Yeah, which is good considering the coaching change, on that front. And and Julie here says, "Give me Shaq," and I'm with that. I like Shaq in this case. I think Dorian Williams still has potential in this new Jim Leonhard scheme, and it was a shame that he got hurt in that game divisional. We really did miss him in that game this year. But I would
play good
Shaq
defense, man, but not championship defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I agree with you. But again, the turnovers really led to good field position, made it easier for Denver to convert. I think there's a lot of things going on with our fan base, and I may be getting a little off track here, student. Okay?
You have the floor.
Okay, and I just want to say I think some of our fans are really hesitant and still living off of the great 2021 playoff run of Josh Allen. And they are hesitant and they are in denial to ever suggest that Josh Allen played a C+ game or a C game in the playoffs. And I love Josh Allen. Whittle and I talk about Josh Allen a lot here.
Dude, on Ash Wednesday, you're going to do this to me on Ash Wednesday. You're going to get sacrilegious on Ash Wednesday. Is that what you're doing to me, Beyond?
Yes, I am. But listen, say a few more Hail Marys. But anyway, be it as it may. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Guinness.
There you go. So what I would say is, real quick, Mark from Buffalo has made it. So Whittle approved this cameo and student hacked the pod.
Oh, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I run this company, but Whittle runs me. Don't get it twisted. That's why he is the almighty. Beyond the almighty. Great to hear from you, Mark, man. It's an astute observation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But again, I think Josh, listen, and I love Josh, and I think Josh is the reason we're here, okay? But it's okay to critique him at times, right? That 2021 run was so special.
Why does it feel so sacrilege when you bring this up?
Can I tell you why?
Not to me.
Can I tell you why? I'm going to tell you why. Because some Buffalo fans have a deep, deep insecurity that if you criticize the player like a Jack Eichel, like a Dominic Hasek, I'm going way in my bag here, that they're going to leave town and say, I don't want to be in Buffalo.
I own Jim Kelly, the hockey writer's house, right?
Oh, really?
The guy that Dom strangled?
I remember. Are you kidding me?
I own his house.
You're kidding me. No. I gotta go visit you. Now I gotta go visit you for sure. It's not okay. But I just feel like sometimes like it's okay to critique Josh. Nobody's saying that he's not a winning quarterback. You know what I mean?
Is it okay?
Yes, it is.
Say it again.
Yes, it is.
It's okay to
not be okay. No, okay.
It's okay to critique Josh.
Yes.
If Josh can be grown man, it's grown man season when you're in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It is Spartan versus Grecian. It is the 1,000-year wars. And the reason it's not the 500-year wars is because we're always in it and we always have to be self-critical. But but to absolve ourselves from this, it's sometimes abstract concept that Josh is allowed to have off days. Mm-hmm. Where are we at? I'm glad you got a sip of water there because I think
he's allowed to.
Some people need to have a glass.
How do you know if this is water?
Well, I hope it's not. Some people need to have a glass of introspective liquid and be like, it's okay to critique Josh.
Yeah, and listen, I agree with you. Listen, I'm not going to deny this at all. Okay, and Josh is going to go down as the greatest Bill ever, in my opinion, when it's all said and done. Okay. He is
That's not a hot
tremendous person off and on the field. I have nothing but love for Josh, but it is okay in that context with 4 turnovers, especially the one before the half, which is something I will never understand. I will never understand.
Carrying that ball like a loaf of bread.
It's okay to critique him in those situations. And our defense, to be honest, we kept them in the game in the second half.
It's just so crazy that we can be so staunch in our criticism with an entire unit and coaching staff, yet we cannot offer constructive, introspective analysis for one player who touches the ball 56% of the game. His hands are on the imprint of the Duke, also known as the football. Hang on.
Yep. Oh no! What is going on here? What are we getting here? Who is that? Nice.
He's got his hands on those. He's got his mitts on that ball. Like 56% of the game, if we're playing it the right way, ball security is job security.
Yep. Something else that I think a lot of Bills fans need to understand. You talked about Drake May earlier. Schedule of May.
Begrudgingly.
Is, luck is something that we don't talk about enough, right? Like, where's our 9-7 Super Bowl when the Giants win a Super Bowl? Where's our 10-6 and we go to Super Bowl? Like, Tom Brady, like, again, do yourself a favor. Go look up Pro Football Reference and look at Tom Brady's game logs in the playoffs. The greatest quarterback ever, right?
What am I going to find?
You're going to see some 188-yard games in there with 1 touchdown and 2 picks that he wins.
Yeah.
How come Josh can't get that?
Because you know what?
He did a little bit against Baltimore last year. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the Baltimore game was one example where he didn't have to do much, but he did enough to win. Right?
Speaking of interruptions, do you feel like Josh, his game flow in some critical moments, has been interrupted by some pass faux pas, some playing a little bit too cowboy? Because what Matt and I always say is just because you can make the throw doesn't mean you should throw it. Just because you can scramble and hold it like a loaf of bread doesn't mean you shouldn't carry it like a bar of gold. I feel like those are all valid. But also, one bad January doesn't erase 3 strong Septembers.
Absolutely. No, listen, and Josh is still our solution. He is not the problem. He is the number one solution to us.
Maybe the fan base has to quote Travis Kelce's wife. It's me. Mm-hmm. Hi. Yeah. I'm the problem. It's me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, but is some of this just, there's all kinds of reasons why the Bills have not gotten to the promised land. There's been some injuries. There've been some unforeseen difficulties, like with the DeMar Hamlin thing and the change of schedule and the blizzards changing the weeks, giving teams extra time off. There's so many little things. There's losing our entire secondary. Basically, Christian Benford being out in the 24 title game. There's having AJ Klein say, "Hey, don't go to Key West. Come on up and play linebacker for the Bills."
Beyond, I have a number. Right? I have a number 56 AJ Klein jersey. I have a number 54 AJ Klein jersey. I have a number 49 AJ Klein jersey.
Jeez.
Yeah,
you may be the only man on earth that has.
No, it's just so you know, I lie about everything. That's all a lie. But in theory, I could. Elite QB efficiency cannot be overlooked. Red zone production, of which is high, cannot be overlooked. Stable EPA play cannot be overlooked. And explosive creativity cannot be overlooked unless in a vacuum of wins and losses. Do you think Josh has faced enough criticism, due criticism, or an underwhelming amount of criticism for the trajectory of when we get into late December, January, and never February?
Now, are we talking nationally, or are we talking in Buffalo here?
Chef's choice.
Chef's choice. Okay. I would say it's about right. I think he gets some criticism, obviously, for not making the Super Bowl. And again, it's going to come with the territory of you want to be in that. He wants to be in that universe of the all-time, which I will think he will be when it's all said and done, the all-time great quarterbacks, right? But there are times that I think he doesn't get enough criticism, but it's most of the time I think it's about right. And because he is mostly part of the solution here. I'm not sitting here blaming Josh Allen for everything from this past divisional round game, because there's a lot of other factors as to why we lose these games this time of year. And probably the number one factor, if I had to point it out for you, student, is what? See this number? We need
Don't
the
shut up.
1 seed.
I'm out of this podcast. This isn't even my podcast. I don't even want to do it anymore.
We need the 1 seed. Yes, you do. We need the 1 seed. And losing these inexplicable games during the season under Sean McDermott has cost us.
But we've downshifted the engine to fix the brakes. You know what that means? We have an elite QB, a top 5 offense that somehow has to over-fucking-see a subpar defense. You don't clip this. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You don't downshift the engine to fix the brakes. And the brakes are bend, don't break. Yes, we were doing... you can always see... let me ask you this, Beyond, and I want you to really take 5 seconds and not talk and think about this. Okay? Did we do more with less on our offense and the supporting cast of Josh, or do we do more with less with our defensive starters and who we were left with entering the late season?
I would say on offense, we did more with less in terms of skill position, but we have way more now in the trenches than we did back in 2021, as an example. Like, there's no comparison from our line now than in 2025 to 2021. Like, our tight end room, those things like that are way better, right? So up front, we are way stronger, more formidable, right? Running back, but obviously on the wide receivers, we talk about it forever. We are not close to where we were in 2021. Defensively,
should we be?
Well, it's hard to be great at everything, right? Like, sometimes,
you got me.
We had to pivot a little bit. If you're a Friends fan. Why did I say that? I have no idea. But anyway.
Continue, Chandler.
Chandler pivot. But we had to pivot a little bit after Stephon Diggs. We had to become more of an everybody eats thing, become more of a running first team. We built our offensive line. We changed we weren't a quote sexier offense like we were in 2021. You see the old highlights.
It wasn't jet sweep season.
No.
I miss Dave's.
If you're sometimes listening, I do too.
Brian, I miss you.
Did you want Daves as head coach?
I had a little bit of an inside track just because Dave's is an alumni of the high school. Dave's and I keep a decent amount of contact with just mutual contacts. We did not keep one point of contact here. I knew he was going through a little health thing, stuff like that. I really thought he was going to step away from the game for a little bit, but now he is in the AFC again.
I really thought with
a new uniform, Tennessee Titans. Too many white helmets.
Like that?
Too many white helmets. The Bears. My inside sources, the Bears are going to release a white helmet within the coming weeks. Let's go back to red. Let's go back to red.
I love just the Bears classic look as it is right now. Don't change it. Don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's just that simple.
As we enter the new stadium in terms of nostalgia and don't change a thing, what do you think that we should carry over from the old guard and the old house of Highmark Stadium 1.0 to the new Highmark Stadium 2.0? And if you say Mr. Brightside, this podcast is over.
No, I don't want that brought over. And I liked it when it lasted. Okay.
It's 2 years.
It was cool. It was fun. The fans liked it.
It's got to be an overhaul.
But it's got to be an overhaul. Yeah, I agree. maybe come up with something new, or maybe maybe the shout song just has to come back a little bit more prevalent again. But do you bring the shout song over from the old arena?
Oh, you can't ever lose that because that's an identity.
That's
of
true.
And this is a great segue. We are such an identity-based fandom, not franchise. An identity-based fandom versus franchise. Where do you think a lot of that rage comes from? Like, you remember when we lost Chad Hall? Chad Hall, no! Like, even Bobby Babich, it comes from his father's defense. It wasn't Sean McDermott's defense. It was Bobby Babich Sr.'s defense. And Sean McDermott was calling it at the end of the day. What do you think needs to come over from the previous guard of Sean McDermott? As I'm playing with my wristband because I don't want to hear bad news. What do you think needs to come over from the Sean McDermott? Everybody eats, defend our dirt. Mike Tomlin teammate Sean McDermott. What do you hope comes over, and what do you think is lost in transition?
I think for the majority of part that the culture that was built, getting the certain types of players that kind of fit Buffalo. Like, for example, Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver is not there are certain players that are built for LA. I'm from LA. Okay. Now I live in LA. There's certain players that are built for LA, and there's some players that are not. And there's some players, conversely, that are not built for Buffalo. Like, remember we were going to draft Josh Rosen, and Manhattan Beach, California kid.
Yo, bro, I wanted him so bad.
He was
so bad. He was a UCLA guy.
A Manhattan Beach, California. Listen, if you know anything about Manhattan Beach, okay,
I know Pismo Beach.
Manhattan Beach is not a poor place, to say the least. It's a
hey, I got family in the Palisades, so you can watch them. Lost their houses, but
horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. I drove up there and it broke my heart. I'm about 40 miles from there. It's just terrible. But and there's some players that are built for it. And I think Buffalo's done a great job of identifying those types of players that fit Western New York. And Western New York's a special place, right? But it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Right? Like, a Tyreek Hill's not built for Buffalo. Okay. He's not that kind of, he's a fast life kind of big city kind of guy. Okay, no problem. Right. So I hope they bring some of that over from the
McDermott. Go ahead, finish.
No, one more thing. I think Whittle we talk about bringing in dogs, guys that have a little bit of an edge to them. I want to see that from our defense now. I want them to bring in a little bit more edge now.
And we do have a little bit of an update. I do believe we're going to get something done with the dog.
Oh, get over here now. Get over here now. Get over here right now. Right now. Who do we got? We got Big AA Alec Anderson.
What is up, people?
Yo, you played great today. Couple tackle overs.
Yeah.
Okay, where's your chick?
She's Alicia.
Alicia. Step right there. You got a mic right there. Step right there.
She goes right there.
We got Alec Anderson here. Dude, you don't look like you don't got any eye black on you. You don't. By the way, you got to step your swag up on the field. Like, I want to see. I want to see more wrist tape. I want to see wrist tape to your forearms.
Baby, how do you feel about that? More swag on the field or less? How rated today?
You had a 9.5.
Oh.
Like, I would say a 10, just because I love you, though.
Oh, Fishy loves you. I love it. Also,
I think we're close beyond breaking and just in talking. I think we're close. I think we're going to get a 2-year deal done with him.
Nice.
Just a little breaking stuff right there. Those are the guys I want, though. I want a guy who wants to play special teams. I want a guy who, he just inflicts his will. He is a subset of Spencer when he's healthy. He's a subset of Dion when he's slim.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some contracts that we have to go through. A Connor McGovern we have to go through. Are we going to keep him? David Edwards, are we going to keep him? Cedric Van Pran Granger, he's got to be dealt with. And also, even Travis Clayton, a guy we haven't seen very much after this year, he loses his international exemption, being a guy from across the pond, the UK. By the way, if anybody's listening, up the IRA, free the Irish. But where are you at right now with where are we going to find our identity? Is it going to be through draft? And I'm talking players who are going to make an impact. Is it through draft? Is it through trade? Is it through free agency? Beyond, you have the floor.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. Well, the offensive line to start is going to be very interesting because, first of all, we lost the great Aaron Cromer to retirement, right? That's something that it's going to be tough to replace Cromer, right, as a coach. Now we have McGovern up for contract. You got to think next year you got Osiris Torrance that's going to be due a contract. And you're seeing guards right now, students. Some of these guys are getting $20-25 million a year. I mean, they're getting paid out of the water. And with the cap going accelerating as far as it is even this year, it's going to get even more important to identify the right players to keep here. I thought Cedric Van Granger, I got to come up with a nickname for him. Played very well against the Jets last year.
SVP's already taken by Scott Van Pelt.
SVPG maybe?
Sure, man.
Yeah, SVPG played solid against the Jets last year. But again, that was the Jets at the end of the year. Maybe I could have played decent center in that game. I digress. But you know what I mean? So I don't know if I could take enough from that. Are we ready to give him the reins at center and say goodbye to Connor McGovern? Connor McGovern is what I call an FOJ. He's a friend to Josh, and that means a lot, right? When you're a friend to Josh, that helps your cause to stay with the team. But is Connor McGovern and his agent going to look around and say, man, I mean, what could they get on the open market right now compared to what Buffalo can offer? And we're going to have some cap space, student, and maybe you probably know more of this than I do at this moment, but it's going to be very, very tight. Like, we have to be.
In the words of Dave Portnoy, man, the stock market goes up, the salary cap only goes up, man. But in the salary cap, as I referenced David Portnoy, who's so in front of the media, and a guy that we kind of shelled already, Terry Pagola, did he tank any trade equity in his comments with pinning Keon Coleman not on Brandon Beane, despite what is already physically on tape improvable in the Bills' embedded series? Do you think he tanked any trade value? Because I think those comments easily make him a returnable 6 draft pick versus a returnable 5 draft pick, of which I think he was perceived before the owner decided to open up his fracking mouth.
Yeah, right. I thought
not fucking fracking.
Fracking. When he opened up his fracking mouth, my jaw dropped, honestly. Like, you ever see those old cartoons where the jaw just drops?
Ooga!
Yeah, that's what I felt like at that moment. I'm like, are you kidding me, Pagula? Like, are you actually
so GD avoidable?
I was blown away that he said that. First of all, I felt bad for Keon too, because he didn't deserve that. Okay,
you have to take a ricochet shot like that. It's like, oh my god, if you feel like you're an elementary student at a shooting fucking in Texas, like you don't deserve that.
No, not at all.
That was a bad comment.
It's okay, but listen, it's bless all everybody involved in all those.
Thoughts? So. Oh, you just saying thoughts and prayers, bro?
Oh, well, I do mean that when I say that, unlike some other people. But
I wish some people in the NRA did.
I know, yeah.
But people in the NFL, but people in the NFL are listening, much to the chagrin of the NRA, who doesn't listen. Now you know where I politically stand. And the NFL people are listening. Don't you think that was so fucking avoidable, man? It's almost like it was a return to palm trees, to put it in Saber speak.
Oh, yeah, the palm trees and taxes, that was one of the worst comments. And this one with Pagula was just unbelievable. Now, I would say for Coleman, it sounds like Joe Brady, they did a little damage control with him, which I'm happy that they did.
Sure.
That he spoke up about Coleman. That's the most important thing to me, is what does Joe think right now? What does the coaching staff think?
By the way, phenomenal last name.
What's that? Brady. Oh, yeah. I wonder.
Hey, take it easy. It's just, that was a little Easter egg.
Well, hey, listen, there's been my last name's been on this team as a long snapper. There's a coup for you several years ago, but I'll leave that alone. So, and there's a linebacker floating out there with my last name as well. Maybe we could bring.
Yo, let's do a little segue. Let's make it about me and you real quick.
Okay.
I love calling you Beyond.
Yes.
Beyond 716. I think it's powerful. I don't think it's powerful as a crypto market, of which you were shelling. By the way, anybody following the old Beyond 716, please unfollow. We have the new one.
Yes.
Where did you come up in? Am I searching for podcast content, or am I really getting into it? Where did you come up with Beyond 716? Because it certainly seems like your analytics, your passion, and your pragmaticism as to how you analyze Buffalo sports as a displaced fan really fits your Economics Twitter handle. Where'd you come up with Beyond 716?
These words are just, I love these words. I need to.
I got kicked out of Cornell.
Hey, my St. John's education can't handle those words right now.
Yeah, Mike Francesca, who is a St. John's alum, is fucking. Right now he's spinning in his silk thread sheets right now somewhere out in Manayunk or Montauk.
And we got, and believe me, as I watch this, we got a 7-point lead on Marquette going to 14-1 in the Big East. Let's go.
Get a girl. Yo, Rick Pitino. We don't care.
The Godfather. Shout out to the
If
Godfather.
we're not going to prosecute Robert Kraft for the Asian Orchid incident, we're not going to prosecute you for anything that you did in your past career. So tell me right now, Beyond, where does Beyond 716 come from?
Okay, I used to do. I started this, and I was doing a podcast on my own. And Beyond 716 means exactly beyond the 716 area code. I was going to do interviews with maybe some fans that are not living in the 716, but have the same passions as I do. Like, I'll give you an example. Our good friend Lee Sean, the great Lee Sean, right? Lives in Charlotte.
He's way bigger than you think. I was standing next to him. I'm 6'3.5". He's all 6'2". Like he's gonna have problems. He's gonna have problems claiming 6'4" in his. Yeah, he's a big cat. By the way, Pat Brunson, way fatter than I thought.
Hey, I'm like 6'3", built like Deion Walker, bro. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. So I'll leave that alone.
Well, hopefully this podcast, gets you paid like Deion Walker when we have to.
Oh, don't I wish?
Contract.
Hey, I'm talking to the man here.
But continue beyond 716. Do you feel?
So I used to do.
Do you feel a culpability being beyond 716 to be a transitory voice of pragmaticism? Because you're not like a Whittle. You're not gonna put on the brass knuckles from Newark, fighting people. Which I see. That's why he's the Almighty. But with you, when people speak, they listen. Beyond 716, do you feel like you had a chance to change your Twitter handle when you were unfortunately locked, but you went beyond 716? Don't you
I'm
think?
Still here. Yep.
Don't you think?
This is my new one here, by the way.
Don't you think that beyond 716 is truly the identity of which you wish to impart on the Bills? You have to get beyond your past roots to fit in here in Buffalo. You have to get beyond your past tragedies of 13 seconds, of wide right, of the Music City Miracle, because we're one of the rare fan bases where all of our early exits of these very, very winnable January games, they all have titles. 13 seconds, wide right, no goal, all that other stuff. Don't you feel like you've grown just in Do Champions and in your solo self into that identity beyond 716? And what can you? We rarely get a moment to discuss personal things. Beyond 716, I think, is a brilliant persona for you and never a character.
Appreciate it. No, absolutely, and that was my whole idea. Is we could, we're becoming more and more of a transient society. people are moving out of Buffalo. I mean, when I go down to Florida,
Charlotte,
right,
Florida,
in Tampa. My Tampa area, my mom and dad both lived there. And if I wear a Bill shirt, I get so many Go Bills. It's unbelievable. Like there's so many people that moved down there from Buffalo and, in the Charlotte area. And I think that was really what it was about for me is that, we're kind of look at we have so many great fans in Western New York. Right. And I love the fans there 100%. Right. But this was more about, I was thinking like, hey, maybe I could start something up where I could start talking to some of our great fans outside of, because I went to in Los Angeles here, we have an LA Bills backers club in Santa Monica, right on Santa Monica Boulevard, a place called Busby's. Awesome place, by the way. Student, you walk in, they got a huge room in the back. They call it the Bison Dome. They got a little area and everybody stands there for the game and it gets wild. I mean, it gets wild. When we beat the Patriots in 2011, remember the great game with the Fred Jackson run at the end, Stevie? That game.
Well, I thought you were talking about 2000s where we're talking about Lori Malloy.
No, I'm talking about the one where we came back at home, and I think it was Florence that had the interception.
Was Fitzmagic?
With Fitzmagic. And Fred had that big run at the end that we kicked the game-winning field goal, 134-31. We had the Santa Monica police come outside our area because we were disturbing the peace. We were going so crazy. I feel like we won a Super Bowl. We had fans crying. We had 200 plus of us in there going wild. I was dripping sweat. It was just like that is. And that's when I kind of thought about those things in my head. I was like, we have so many great fans outside 716. And I think that's when I was making my handle. And I just kind of thought of those moments that, there's a lot of displaced Buffalonians out here in California. There's a lot. Cool. They come chase the dream in LA. Some of them, for whatever reason.
Think about how you feel in this moment right now, just us talking. We don't get to work with each other much.
It's awesome.
You're leaning forward and you're thinking about like where it's been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever feel the opposite of that emotion, that passion? Did you feel it this year? Did you feel it in 13 seconds or something like that, where you lost the plot? Do you get where some of these unhinged comments come from? Like, Joe Brady, same old Bills. There's nothing worse than watching a game with the geriatrics that say same old Bills. That's where if Twitter mute could apply in real life, that's where I would apply it, because it's not the same old Bills. We're dynamic. We're talking now as fans. We're talking about EPAs. We're talking about pressure stagnates. We're talking about cover one dogs. We're talking about these. We're talking about training rooms and stuff like that. How much of it in the off season do you allow yourself to digest to apply to the trajectory of where we're going to be in October and November? Does this matter?
Oh yeah. I mean, it hurts. There's so many different emotions being a Buffalo fan, right? And I think the way we unhinge speaks to how passionate we are about these teams in the first place. If we didn't unhinge like this, then we wouldn't care, right? If we were just like,
we'd be the Browns,
passive, yeah, or like we'd be a fan of like half the football, the Rams or the Chargers out here, who I'm still trying to figure out if they play here. By the way, I'm being funny, but you know what I mean. It's just that I think
dude, that was a delayed laugh. Oh, I did think that was funny.
The chase that the Bills and Sabres have to win the championship, I think, makes Buffalo fans even that much stronger.
Well, answer to our good Buffalo fan, Miss Julie Andrade. Joe Brady is too vanilla and predictable. I'm not going to lie. I'm nervous about the season, but cautiously optimistic. I think the beauty in that comment is the last phrase, cautiously optimistic. And that is beyond 716, I think.
I really feel Julie's statement there in terms of Joe Brady. There's things I really liked. I can't sit here and say, it's like we talked about the unknown, right? You start a new job, right? You're just getting in. I don't know if it's going to be great the first couple of months. I can't tell yet, no matter how good or bad it is. I've had jobs that start great and they turn poor. I've had jobs that I didn't like, right? Some jobs are like, and they turn out to be awesome. So, we just got to give it time. And patience is a hard thing in today's world, especially, instant gratification. We need it now. We need our instant moments. Got to see how the draft goes. We got to see how much. Let's hear about this whole McDermott Bean thing. We're going to find out how good Brandon Bean really is right now. Brandon Bean doesn't have the Sean McDermott thing to, we don't have to talk about that going forward. So,
well, we'll do this really quick.
Hey.
How about this? We'll call it the peak of the pit. Give me the peak of the pit of the offseason.
Peak and the pit. Wow. Okay, so you want the peak of the season?
Yes.
Of the off season coming up?
The peak and the pit of what we were just experiencing right now. What is the peak of last season and the pit in your stomach? And then to transition to this season, what is the peak of which we think we have to ascend to right now, and the pit in your stomach of what we will not establish? The peak and the pit, sponsored by Fubo TV.
Okay, so the peak of this season, obviously, is the one thing.
What does it have to be?
Has to be making a Super Bowl. It has to be. I can't say it any other way at this point, because we've seen virtually everything to this point. I'm sorry to say it, but and again, I still think, and I know this may be hard for Bills fans. Actually, let me backtrack a second. Okay. I heard some Bills fans talk in space as well. Jim Leonard's a new defensive coordinator. How can we expect great results in year one? Well, there's a gentleman by the name of Vic Fangio who took over the Philadelphia Eagles last year, first year, and he transformed them from an okay defense to a top-notch defense in one season, folks. So it can be done. I know the Eagles have different personnel. I think the Bills have some young players that are going to pop. I think Deion Walker's going to get better. I think Sanders will get better. I think we'll draft Michael Hoyt. We'll see how he looks after his Achilles. I know Julie said something about Landon Jackson not being much of a factor. I may agree with that, but I got to see what he looks like. But we need to see what things look like after the draft. We got to see things look like after free agency. But it can be done, folks. Buffalo just needs a defense.
It feels like a therapy session.
Buffalo needs a defense that can make plays, right? Force some turnovers, and just be that consistent, solid rock.
I don't want to be stagnant. I don't want to be stagnant on offense. I don't want to be stagnant on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather lose by a mile than fucking be shelled that may be shelled into the ether by not getting aggressive. And we have, I don't want to see the horse collar being put on Josh's mouth, but I also want to see someone deserving on the defense to have the horse's reins as well. Who would you like to see step up this year to play the role of offensive Josh on a Jim Leonhard defense? Is he on the roster? Do we have to fucking find him in the draft, which is improbable because you're going to get rookie players, or is he going to be out there in free agency as you see it?
I think Deion Walker has a chance to. I love what I saw out of him. I think the sky's the limit for Deion Walker. I've always been in Whittle's corner on that, and I give Whittle all the credit for Deion Walker because he's the first one that kind of, the Almighty is the one that talked about him last September before the draft. The September before this draft, ladies and gentlemen, is when he was talking about Deion Walker over and over again. And I watched him a few times. I said, wow, I mean, he just jumps off the screen. I mean, he could play on the edge too, by the way. But yeah, I don't know if that guy's on the roster yet, to be honest with you. Maybe it's Cole Bishop, but I don't know how, that's hard to say what his ceiling is. Well, but listen, we actually have Christian Bedford. We can't sell Christian Bedford short. He's an elite corner. Okay. Maybe he's that guy, and we'll see what Maxwell Harrison can do. But we have a lot of great pieces on this defense, student. But my problem with Sean McDermott's defensive scheme, you know who he reminds me of? I'm going to give you a baseball analogy. You ready?
Give it to me.
Clayton Kershaw.
Who? Keep it West Coast.
Let me tell you why. Clayton Kershaw is a guy that lived off of painting the corners, nibbling the corners, right? Nibbling, weird, but paint the corner, But his greatness was just keeping hitters off guard, right? Keeping them off balance and keeping them guessing, just like Sean McDermott did with disguising coverages, right, against certain quarterbacks. But what happens in the playoffs when we play guys like Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow? Those guys don't fall for those tricks. Okay, they're too savvy. Clayton Kershaw you know how great he was as a pitcher, right? You know his record was in the postseason? 500 with a 4.6 ERA.
Get out of here.
Does that sound familiar to you?
I mean, it sounds incredibly familiar. But once you impart and
what I'm saying is that in the playoffs, Clayton Kershaw, when you're trying to hit the corners, the players say, you know what? I'm not falling for that trick right now. I'm going to dig in and wait for that pitch. And he's beatable. And he's good in the playoffs, but he's beatable, just like Sean McDermott. Defense is good in the playoffs at times, but beatable in the end. And I think that's why we need to make that change. And we need that, like you said, what Jim Leonhard could bring.
Well, beyond, we did something last year, which we're going to continue this year on the Do Champions Network. If you're not following us at DoChampions.com on all your social media platforms where you get your podcast, I'm going to bring up something really, really quick. It's called the Dream versus Decision. And last year, your dream versus decision. Trey Amos, and you thought we were going with Darian Porter. Winovich didn't hit. Well, dreams would have hit. But, man, what's your dream versus decision this year? Way too early, but talk to me, Westside.
Wow. Dream is I am of the camp that we need to go wide receiver in the draft as of this moment. Now, this could all change. Of course, we got to go through free agency, and we'll see if we make a trade, if we identify something. But I think getting that rookie deal, I would say dream just right off the top. Oh, boy. There's a few different names that I like out there, and I don't know if KC Concepcion would fall into that mix. If he's my dream necessarily, it's not a name that's gonna really excite our fan base.
Yeah, no one's lighting off sparklers.
Yeah, I would say that would probably be my dream at this moment, is like a KC Concepcion or that type of receiver would be what I'd like to see in the draft for the first round.
Which is different than Buster Douglas and the boxer Dave Concepcion.
Oh, Dave Concepcion, the old shortstop from the Reds. Yeah, I'm dating myself now. Yeah, so anyway. But yeah, that's where I stand at this moment. But again, Denzel Boston, maybe another guy. I know we've talked a lot about him, or I've heard Bills fans talk a lot about him. I really like him out of Washington or UW. He's going to be an excellent. He's 6'4". 210. I think he's a really big target that could really help us out. So those would be my dream scenarios. Again, in the beginning of our analysis here, as before we dip into free agency, I really start to hone in on that more after that to see what our needs are, and also see our top 30 visits, which always seems to be where we target. Well, that was under McDermott. We'll see that still stays the same under Brandon Beane.
Last question before we wrap this up. Once again, you're listening to the Coast to Coast podcast. I am Whittle2K. You can catch me on Spaces anytime you want. Please at me. Go in my inbox directly because that's what I love. Once again, my name is Whittle2K. This is Beyond 716. Beyond, what do you got going on and to prepare for this next off season? Is it decompression? Is it recommitment to what we could be doing, or is it to appreciate where we've been and where we need to go in order to usurp the throne of the NFL as we see it?
Usurp is probably the word of the night, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I love that. But, we're moving into the combine starting on February 23rd. And just note that next week we'll start getting into that as well. We'll start doing that. And then we're right now in the franchise transition area. So I would say really March 3rd. I mean, about a week or two is when I'll really start gearing up, right? We get more into free agency when the year starts on March 11th. And that's when that charge comes back, right? Like right now, this is between this time right now and probably like June are the slowest times for the NFL, right? And there's our off-season key dates there, as you could tell. Really June and early July is where we need to, this is our super slow time, but I'll start gearing up, especially when we start hearing some combine numbers. And just that we make those first couple moves with some of our guys on our roster, that will kind of spark things up in terms of looking at our roster construction and see what this staff could do.
Well, we sparked it up tonight. I do appreciate all the comments tonight. I do appreciate the opportunity to fill in for the almighty Whittle2K. Mm-hmm. You can catch them, the Coast to Coast podcast, every Wednesday, circa around 8, 9, 10, I don't know. Whatever
9 o'clock, 9-ish Eastern time. We usually come on right about then. And I will be in Florida for a month, so I'll be joining him for a little East Coast version of our podcast coming up. So,
but it doesn't matter where you are Beyond it, because as we say on the Do Champions Network, it is always good to be seen.
Yes, it is always good to be seen. And thanks for coming on tonight. It's been a treat. So thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.